This week, we get to know the Ecuadorian Americans. This community adds to the American salad bowl strong family values, delicious cuisine, and above all else, a sincere love for soccer. First, we'll visit the Herreras as they raise Ecuadorian American twins. Later, we'll taste some sizzling Ecuadorian dishes. Last but not least, we'll celebrate the Ecuadorian independence on the next World in America.
There are Ecuadorians everywhere.
If you hire an Ecuadorian, you can easily bet that he'll give 125% to what he does.
Ecuadorian Americans are hardworking, tight-knit, close family.
They're very happy people.
They're family-oriented and soccer-loving people. La República del Ecuador, which is the Republic of Ecuador, is located in South America, right across the equatorial line. It borders Colombia to the north, Peru to the east and south, and the Pacific to the west. Ecuador also includes the Galapagos Islands in the Pacific, about 600 miles off the coast to the west. Geographically speaking, Ecuador has three beautiful regions. The first, La Costa, which is the gorgeous and long coastline. Second, La Sierra, which means the highlands, is dominated by the Andes mountain range. The third, La Amazonia, which is comprised of the Amazon rainforest and is the eastern part of the country. Ecuador today has a population of about 15 million people, and San Francisco de Quito, most often called Quito, is the capital of Ecuador. Ecuador has an amazing history that's long and it's full of indigenous people as well as colonization. There were multiple groups of indigenous people in Ecuador for 6,000 years, up until the 15th century when the region became part of the famous Inca Empire. However, after about 60 years of Inca rule, the Spaniards arrived with Francisco Pizarro, and Ecuador fell under Spanish rule in the early 1530s. The Spanish control of the region lasted for about 3 centuries, up until August 10, 1809, when the first call for independence was heard loud and clear in the city of Quito. This is also known as El Primer Grito de la Independencia. Since then, the country went through multiple political and military challenges and tribulations. Ecuador finally returned to democracy in the late 1970s. The history of migration from Ecuador to the United States goes back to the 1950s. It's actually the Ecuadorians who manufactured the world-famous Panama hats, which were a major economical source for many of them until the 1950s. For example, the American President Theodore Roosevelt visited the construction of the Panama Canal, and he was wearing one of these Panama hats, which brought even more popularity to the hat. But in the 1950s, this industry had a major hit, and that's when, slowly, a migration began from Ecuador to the United States. Today, there are almost 1 million Ecuadorians living in the U.S. New York City and upstate New York received most of this migration. Queens, New York houses the largest Ecuadorian population in any county of the U.S. Alone, it accounts for 100,000 Ecuadorians.
Meet the Herreras. In spite of the common belief that South Americans are very recent immigrants, the Herreras are a well-established second-generation Ecuadorian American family.
My name is Manuel Herrera. I'm 34 years old. Born and raised here in the United States. Work in the United Nations headquarters in the IT department.
My name is Jessica Herrera. I was born in Ecuador. I came when I was about 1.5 years. I'm a college graduate. I'm a payroll coordinator for a company called John Wiley's & Sons. It's a publishing company.
I have a set of twin girls, 5 years old. Their names are Mia Lynn, and Dayanara. One of the biggest kids had wires all over his teeth. Mom said they were braces. I thought they were neat. I hoped we would get braces too.
Many people migrate to the United States, either for education or employment opportunities. For Jessica, however, the reason was quite different.
My parents decided to come to America because I was born with a disability. I was born with a dislocated hip. The technology over there really wasn't as advanced as it is or has been here. If I would have stood over there, I probably would have been crippled or not been able to walk correctly. Right after I came here, I was operated on. They inserted a pin in me on my hip to be able to realign it again. I was in a cast for quite a while, actually.
Both Manny and Jessica recognize that the United States offers tremendous advantages, not only to them and their kids, but also to the thousands of other Ecuadorians who migrate here every year.
Opportunity, work opportunity. That's one thing they were coming here for.
It's a lot easier to find a job here than it is over there. It's really hard, even for college graduates, to get a job. I think you have to know someone to find a good paying job, and even the good paying jobs don't even pay that great.
But generally, just having a better life here. You know, not only for themselves, but for their kids. Say hi to the camera. Wave to the camera like a big girl. Say wave. Babe, say hi. Oh my God, you're so happy.
For this second-generation Ecuadorian American family, the challenge is not getting adjusted to the United States, but rather maintaining their ancestral language and values through their children.
I learned Spanish mainly in the household with my family. I also grew up with other Spanish friends from different cultures, different countries, so I picked up from them as well.
Qué rico.
Gracias. Besito, besito a la tía.
A ver. Coman todo. My first language being English, because that's what I speak all the time. With my parents or with my uncles and aunts, I speak Spanglish, you could say.
It's very important to keep the traditions, customs, and so on within just any general family.
I understand it completely, but to express myself fully, it's kind of hard for me.
We're trying to teach them Spanish and have them know where their roots are from.
They speak English, and though they understand Spanish because my parents speak to them or my aunts, but they don't really talk it that much. They'll say a few words here and there, but that's a big struggle with us. I'm glad that right now they're going to school, kindergarten, and they actually offer Spanish class, which is actually great.
The great thing is that we have family that always come from Ecuador. So they get to interact with them and learn little words here and there. So it's very important for us, to have that in my daughters, make sure that they don't forget where their roots are from.
Their education is very important to me, and I would like them to go all the way, even further than what I've actually accomplished.
We want to make sure that they have a great education. Want to make sure that they can become a lot more than what they think.
Every now and then, the whole Herrera family would get ready and go to a friend's house for a special activity that has been cherished for generations. watching their dear Ecuadorian national soccer team play.
When there are soccer games, Ecuador plays other countries, we all get together with our shirts, we go to our friend's house and we have a great time, and we go, it's excellent.
We all get together, mostly all Ecuadorians, we wear like our jerseys and stuff, and everyone just goes and watches the game. The game is a good reason to just get together,
It started with our parents when we first migrated here from Ecuador.
Me and Manny, we know each other for a long time. We grew up in Hoboken. When I was growing up, these events always happened. The Ecuadorian community get together, and we used to be small and used to see this happening. Now we're parents, and we're getting together with our kids, and which is a good thing.
There's a fan for baseball, there's a fan for football. For us, it's soccer.
Soccer, whether we win or lose, it's the biggest thing. And it's very important. It's something that's part of our country, part of our culture.
If we win today, we have almost a step inside the World Cup.
This game is very important because Ecuador needs to win to qualify for the World Cup.
In any sport, there is a winner and a loser. Yet for the Herreras and the other Ecuadorian Americans who gather to watch their team play, it's a win-win situation. Because regardless of the score, they keep this tradition and love for their home country alive.
Oh man, I feel so bad. Ecuador lost.
I'm so mad right now, man. These guys, they could have won. They missed so many opportunities and we lost that.
Us just being here, it means a lot more in a lot of ways. But, we were looking forward to, winning this game.
Since we're older now, what we do, it seems like we're taking the role of the parents. We get together still as friends, have our kids as well, and we watch the games. And it's a tradition that I want to also have my kids do.
Located in West New York, New Jersey, Koch Restaurant offers a variety of traditional dishes. It's the go-to spot if you want to open your palate to Ecuadorian flavors.
We decided actually to open a new establishment about a year, 2 years ago. It's a partnership from different cultures. It's my mother, we're from Ecuador, my husband who is Italian, and we also have a partner who is from India. We specialize in Ecuadorian cuisine, but we get different type of people, different cultures.
Coming from the mountainous La Sierra of Ecuador, yapingachos is an original way of serving potatoes. And a plate at Koch has much more than only potatoes.
So one of the dishes that we're preparing here is going to be yapingacho. To start off this dish, actually, we need to prepare a salsa, which is going to consist of a lot of onions and tomatoes, and it's going to have a sour orange reduction or juice to it. He's going to chop the onions real thin, and the tomato the same way. Now he's chopping up the cilantro, basically the key ingredient to bringing a lot of flavor to Ecuadorian dishes. Now he's actually going to grab the orange sour juice to finish it off.
It's called yapingacho. It's mashed potato patties with cheese inside.
So he's going to drizzle the flat iron here a little bit with some oil. And these just come to a nice crisp saute. Now this dish itself, typically for indigenous areas, Yapingacho is actually consists of potato, which is very popular there in that area. And that's going to be a mashed potato with some fresh herbs and cheese, actually. Now he's actually going to grab one of the key ingredients to this dish, Yapingacho, is our peanut butter reduction sauce. Another item, Rafi, that tops us off is going to be eggs. We actually bring this over easy. That's how we plate this. The sausage, salchicha that we use, this actually is going to be tossed into the fryer and it's going to accompany and garnish the dish very nicely. Just going to finish it off with one of the things, which is eggs. Just grab the patties. And the chorizo finally is the one item that garnishes this dish and puts it together as your protein.
It's delicious. It's one of our actually most popular dishes here in the restaurant.
A very colorful dish, arroz con pollo, blends chicken and rice with delicious spices.
Right now we're actually cubing and cutting the preheated, the chicken is going to be preheated, and that's actually going to go into the saute pan with a little butter and onions. And of course, chopping the onions is very essential in Spanish dishes, which gives a lot of flavor. I mean, that's one of the key ingredients to a lot of the bland dishes. You're gonna bring that to a high heat and let that pretty much become sauteed, or he's sauteing the actual onions themselves. Next step is he's gonna basically grab the chicken itself, he's gonna toss it in there. That's also gonna get a little bit more color, it's gonna become caramelized with the onions, and it's gonna give it more of a crispier texture on the outside, just to kind of give it a nice sauteed feel to it. So as he brings that to heat, what he's gonna do is now grab his rice, which has already been pre-cooked. Just traditional long white grain white rice. He's gonna toss a little bit of soy sauce in the rice, which that gives it a little color. And actually the red spice that you see here is Bijon. That's what's gonna bring it to a yellowish tone without actually using saffron. An additional item that we use is the sweet plantain, otherwise known as plátano maduro, and that's going to finalize the dish itself. So he's going to take that and put it into a deep fryer to give that some color. To finalize our dish, what we do is add the plantain.
The ingredients that we use are fresh. That's what makes the Ecuadorian cuisine so delicious.
Churrasco is steak, cooked to perfection, along with a hearty plate of sides, all in an Ecuadorian way.
So our Chef Rojas is now going to prepare our Ecuadorian churrasco, which is going to be basically a platter, a typical platter in Ecuador itself. It's going to consist of a lot of components, steak, eggs, and we're going to have some French fries and salad to top that off. First thing we're going to do is actually going to warm up our sauce that has been put together. It is tomato based, so it consists of a lot of tomatoes, peppers, and onions. Second step that this dish needs is actually to toss in the French fries into the fryer so we can bring that to color. We're going to actually now start the cooking process of the meat. You actually toss in the flat iron skillet, and then that basically is going to get tossed in with some oil and then some tenderizing spices. Once those two items are warm enough or cooked to the right temperature, they actually are brought together. And he's actually going to bring the steak over to the sauce. And he's going to let the cooking proceed and continue, where this here now, basically you get a lot of the mixtures of the flavors in there. Another item he's going to bring to the flat skillet is going to be eggs. Again, this Ecuadorian churrasco, it is a famous dish in Ecuador, but it also is what we know as a platter because it consists of different components. You have eggs, steak, French fries, along with some salad. final step he's going to do is the steak. He's going to plate the steak itself, which actually, this platter, like I mentioned, is different components, and it consists of two different dishes. Everything gets separated, meaning the steak is plated on a separate dish for the guest.
The Ecuadorian cuisine, it's absolutely delicious. And I'm not saying that because I'm Ecuadorian, but it's absolutely delicious.
Independence carries a universal importance for all people. Ecuadorians are no different. And once a year across the globe, Ecuadorians gather around with family, food, and music to remember and celebrate their freedom. Westchester, New York becomes home to one of these celebrations every year on the 10th of August.
We celebrate our independence. It's 200 years old. We like to enjoy everybody and celebrate with us.
These kinds of events, but especially the Ecuadorian Independence Day, bring the Ecuadorian community in the U.S. together. You'd see a lot of delicious, traditional Ecuadorian food. Everybody's out on the streets waving the flag. Kids are running around with their Ecuadorian t-shirts, the Ecuadorian hats, the soccer ball, soccer jerseys. The rhythms and the melodies of the Andes takes people back to the moment of independence, to their village, to their families, to the memories of their grandparents, and to their childhood. Anyone would enjoy it, but people coming from that particular background would resonate with it at a deeper level. So for Ecuadorians in these events, they're not only celebrating what's been, but also what is, their current status in the States and their bright future as Ecuadorian Americans. Even though most people who migrate have an intention to return eventually, the reality is that they are here to stay. And most importantly, they are happy to be here. And Ecuadorian Americans not only add to the American salad bowl, but also see their future in the U.S. becoming even better.